In the US or most developed European countries such as France, Germany, etc., students do not have to pay tuition. Vietnam is a developing country and students' 12-year education program is divided into 3 levels. Primary school lasts 5 years, junior high school lasts 4 years and high school lasts 3 years. In theory, primary education is completely free of tuition. At the junior high and high school levels, students must pay tuition. The payment amount is determined by each province and usually ranges from $12 to $24 for a school year. In rural areas, the tax rate is only 30% of that in the city. Compared to the average Vietnamese monthly salary of about $285, the tuition fee for a year is not expensive. However, in reality, parents whose children go to school have to pay dozens of times the tuition under different names. Hello familiar viewers of Vietnam Facts and Figures channel. Today in this episode we would like to introduce to you the story of tuition fees in Vietnam. You will see interesting things that if do not pay attention, you will definitely not be able to understand the paradox that exists in Vietnam. By theory, tuition is free, but in realities you have to pay dozens of times more. Like in many other countries, in Vietnam there are 2 systems, public schools and private schools. Private schools account for less than 10% and operate entirely on student tuition, while public schools operate on state funding. Of course, state funding is only enough to pay teachers' salaries at a minimum level and does not cover other expenses, and parents must contribute to help with its operation. So the story of abusing a correct policy appeared and reached an uncontrollable level. Normally, a student's school year starts around August and ends in June of the following year. The time students start school is also the time when students' parents begin to contribute large sums of money, even though tuition fees according to state regulations are insignificant. Strange list. The first and heaviest item is probably school construction. In September 2023, an official state newspaper reported that students entering grade 1, the starting class of an elementary school, had to pay an amount equivalent to more than $400 for the following items: school construction. This amount is explained as being used for 5 years of primary school education. More specifically, it is explained by items: installing air conditioners for each classroom, paving the floor, repainting tables and chairs, building flower beds in front of the classroom, buying microphones for teachers. Buy textbooks and school uniforms. Students must pay to buy textbooks. There are books that are necessary because without them you cannot learn, but there are books that are not necessary called reference books. And students have to pay to buy both of these types because if they don't buy them, the teachers won't be happy and the school board won't like them either. Textbooks and reference books are sold to schools through agents, and these agents often give a commission to the school, so we understand why schools like students to buy books so much. Textbooks for first grade cost about $8 per set, while reference books cost twice as much, and so the funny story here is that the side stuff is more important than the main thing. The story about school uniforms. Each student uniform is sold for between $13 and $15 and students are required to buy it at school because each school has its own design and logo. Most parents think that if they were free to buy outside, the price would only be 50 to 60% of the school price. And each child has to buy more than one set because they have to wear the uniform for the whole week. In addition to uniforms, some schools also force students to buy school bags. If they wear school bags of different styles, security guards will not let them enter the school. Extra learning. In Vietnam, there are some subjects that are considered main subjects such as math, Vietnamese and foreign languages, basically English, and other subjects that are considered secondary subjects, meaning they are not as important as main subjects such as geography, history or drawing. Core subjects are often chosen in exams, so parents often pay more attention to these subjects, and thus the story of taking extra classes for core subjects is born. Teachers earning from extra classes. According to an official newspaper, a family sent their child to take extra classes in 3 subjects, Vietnamese, math and English at home, paying about $50 a month, which is 10 times the official tuition. Children only study in the morning at school and in the afternoons, except Sunday afternoons, they go to extra classes. If we calculate an average of 20 sessions per month or about $2.40 for one session, the total number of students in a class is 50, teachers earn $2,400 per month. With the above income and of course not having to pay any tax, we see that the income of a teacher is not too so bad when the salary of a worker is only $285 a month. No one talks about official salary because it doesn't have much practical meaning. The question may be, why do almost 100% of students go to private tutoring? Of course it is quite difficult to understand for foreigners, but for Vietnamese people it is easy to understand. In class, teachers hardly teach anything, so if you don't take extra classes, you won't understand the lesson and will get a bad score on the examens. If teachers hate you, you will die, but no one wants to die. Incomprehensible expenses. In addition to the expenses of parents on textbooks, uniforms, classroom repairs, purchasing teaching equipment or tutoring, there are other incomprehensible expenses. In September 2022, a list of payments for first-grade students at an elementary school in Hanoi appeared in an official newspaper. Each student must pay 3,500,000 Vietnam dong or $142, equivalent to 50% of a worker's monthly salary. There are some clauses that when translated into English we find it quite strange. For example, gifts, gratefulness to teachers, gratefulness to the school board, gratefulness to cleaning staff. Another item such as New Year lucky money for students is also contributed by parents so that teachers can use that money to give back to their children. If students need to perform musically on the occasion of the first day school ceremony or Teacher's Day, there is an immediate provision, renting costumes for musical performances. If students learn to bake, there will a baking material list. Parents Association. Who are you? All parents' contributions to the school are not made directly but through the so-called Parents Association. This association consists of about 2 to 3 people elected each time a new school year begins, and their task is to notify parents of the amount of money to contribute, convince parents and collect money for the school. This is not an easy task that no one wants to do, neither do the parents of this association because they often receive criticism rather than praise. Many people consider it a tool of the school or an extended arm of the form teacher. And if there are some unreasonable contributions that are reacted to by parents and posted on the internet or personal Facebook, they are the ones being criticized. It is their fault, not the school administration's. The most common measure is to return the money received from the students' parents and everyone is happy. Vietnam is a cheerful and happy country, the people are always optimistic and easily forgiving, but next year the war on tuition fees and other overpayments will begin again.